Good morning, afternoon, evening, night, everybody. How are we doing, ladies and gentlemen? It is the Rwagnation League F2 time here in Singapore. I'm Ben Rwagnation, and joining me on the commentator's desk is, as always, the lad himself. It's Safso. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty alright. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm alright, considering. Can't complain. Yeah. But, I mean, look, Singapore, F2 races, you know it's going to be good week on week. And, more importantly, look who's not here today. Look who is not here to take another solid, perfect weekend. He did correct me, actually, throughout this week, that he has already, in fact, got 3 perfect weekends, not 2. I thought he was only on 2. He did confirm it is actually 3. Now, qualifying, one-shot qualifying, 4 points can be awarded if you do, in fact, score the pole position lap time. And I'm going to ask you, Seth, so who have you got for the pole position?
Well, at the moment, at least on my end, it's saying Beaker's in pole, and to be honest, I think it's going to stay that way. I'm going to say Beaker for pole.
We are, of course, driving the F2 2020 cars that came out earlier this week. Thank you, Cardmasters, for that deliverance. And it's actually really quite good. I had a blast on them myself on Wednesday and again on Thursday. They are really, really good fun to drive when you get the setup just right, as Beaker just made a bit of a mistake then. Actually hit the wall. A lot of people do seem to be having issues here. Cole Manick is currently your pole leader. Plotopaya are very much a regular here in these F2s. He's right on the back of him. The 2 teammates though currently holding it down, 1 and 2. Although Hayden Gullis, he's making his face appear near the top.
Yeah, it looks like he's liking these new updated cars. It doesn't seem to be having the same effect that maybe it's having on Beaker with that mistake, as you pointed out earlier. It seems Hayden's fine with Torso for P3 and Piloto's taking P1 from his teammate. So we could see some intra-team rivalry here.
Yeah, we just might. Speaking of inter-team rivalry, we do have Hayden Gullis and Joey Eterno here. They are both very good drivers in their own right, and bringing them into the F2 cars seems to be something that is just a bit of a calling for them. They're really, really enjoying them. And Hayden Gullis seems to be really enjoying them today. P3 right now. He actually was sat P2 for a split second. We only got a few more corners to go. This could be a nice, juicy starting position for him. Normally, he has to rely on the reverse grids to get himself up there. And here we go to the line there. Landos Millman P1, Cole Manick P2, Marquez P3, and just behind him is Hayden Gullis in P4.
Yeah, we've said a few times, haven't we, that it's not really the qualifying we look for Hayden. He usually has a somewhat decent feature race and then has a really strong spin race. But if he's doing this well in qualifying, could bode well for him in the first race.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. Right, okay, so we've had a fair few people who did DQ. We've got Tiger Jr., Jeb, Ravenduck, Jesper, Aviator, and Aeterno, who have all invalidated. Plotopaya is having a bit of an issue at the minute. There we go, it is done. He's retired as well. So we should be getting ourselves back underway in no time at all. Are we ready for a nice juicy battle for P1, 2, 3?
I am very ready for it.
Good. Landos Millman setting himself up for the perfect weekend. He has already got himself on pole position, and he was done it by 2:10, so fair play to him. He's actually one of the sort of drivers who you can rely on when it comes to the race pace. It's more his consistency that seems to let him down. I say this a lot about people because I do feel as though that is one of, if not the most important factor when it comes to these races. You have to be absolutely consistent. And then you got Cole Manick P2, Marquez P3, Hayden P4, Toto P5, Beaker P6, Hazard P7, Markin P8, Hardy in P9, Burrito Bandito in P10, and also the last driver to set a time on the board because everyone else got DQ'd. No time set on the board for them. So, qualifying has given us a bit of an indicator. I'm just waiting for the race weather, which we can see is going to be dry. So now, I'm going to ask you the question I have to ask you. It's just a law. I'm sorry, it's just a law. If I don't, then am I really a commentator? Am I really Raggy? Is that me? No. So, I need you 1, 2, 3, please.
It's going to be a tough one for this because it's a bit of a different grid than usual. I'm going to have to say, I think Hayden's going to come through. I think he's going to get 3rd. I don't think he'll quite get the top 2. I think Lando can keep it for P1. I'm actually going to say Marquez for P2. He's put in some strong performances so far this season. I think he can get a top 2 today.
Well, Only they can deliver. That is the thing that it all boils down to. So, drivers looking pretty good. My P123 prediction, I actually think Hayden's going to get his win here. I actually think Hayden is in a really good place to get his win. Normally he gets caught up in some traffic, gets wing damage, and then it shuts him down. This is actually an opportunity now for him to score huge, which I would very much like to see. Kulmanik obviously in P2, he's pretty good as well, so I think he'll actually hold on to P2. Well, I think it's either going to be him or Landos Milman. I just can't work out which one, but I think Landos is going to get a penalty or two. It is something that he's consistently getting. He's consistent at being inconsistent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a few penalties today. Obviously, the F2 cars have a lot less downforce than the F1 cars, but still very powerful. So I think especially at turn 1, maybe on the first lap, we could see a few people going wide, and then that sets up penalties for later on. This is 1 or 2 more laps than I expected, considering how long the lap time is. I was expecting more to be sort of 7 laps.
Yeah. Well, it isn't, so you're going to have to deal with it.
Oh, well, how about that? It's pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, a little bit. Alrighty then. Nice little wobble there from Landos Milman getting those tyres. I mean, this is a very long track. Lap times here are usually in the 30s in the F1 cars, like mid-30s, early 30s. In the F1 cars, it's... sorry, in the F2 cars, it's like, what, 43? What was the quality again? I can't remember.
I believe it was... I think it was a 43, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. We have obviously had 2 drivers that have been reset back to the grid, so they are going to have freezing cold tyres when it comes to the start. And in these F2 cars, they're very, very twitchy when it comes to the early start, early gears, sorry. You get a bit too excessive on the accelerator and your back end will be stepping. So these guys are going to need to keep that under control. These F22 cars, sorry, the 2020 cars do actually have a much better... handling when it comes to the traction out on the accelerator, but as Heidi gets reset and Markin all on the final corner. They're much easier to control.
Well, except in the braking zone when you often lock the rears, and then it's not so fun.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, which you let me down. I remember that. That was good. Yeah, you let me down, didn't you? I remember that.
Yeah, no.
like I can really talk.
Well, I wasn't even expecting to do any racing that day, so...
Yeah. Well, neither was I until about 2 o'clock when I got a message. Hey, you want to do some racing tonight? I was like, hell yeah, dude. Let's do it. Alright. We're just waiting for now for Brito Bandito to get into his grid box, which he has just done now. The car's getting lined back up again. And we are about ready to get going here at the Singapore GP with the F2 cars. We're waiting for the lights to come on. There we go. The lights are on then here in the Rwagnation League. They've gone out, and there we go, straight off there. Landos Milman actually having a pretty good start. Also, who is that? Is that Hardy? I think Hardy's actually had a fantastic start. He's already gained 1 place. Now he's looking down the inside for the next. Oh, he's just got to be a little bit careful there, marking on the inside. Quite nice and tidy. He's getting swamped now. He's just trying to keep his front wing intact, and Joey Eterno's making moves. Tortor is making even more moves. Look at him, up to P3. He is flying right now.
Yeah, 2 positions within the first sort of section of corners here. Very nice start. Someone who hasn't had such nice start is Burrito Bandito. He has spun, and I believe that's turn 3. But Hayden and Marquez have both been passed by Torso. He seems to be on a roll. And oh, look at Beaky's down the inside of Hayden. Be careful. Oh, Hayden's coming back at him. Is he going to try and move? No, I think he's just trying to scare him into a mistake. Maybe Beaky gets past for P5.
I didn't realize how nice this track looks in the daytime. It looks absolutely fantastic. And so do these cars. And Hayden, like you say, is trying to get back at Beaker. Beaker did slip through, and Hayden did kind of take his foot off the gas a little bit. He goes side by side in a couple of the corners, and that did mean he had to surrender the position, which is what's allowed Beaker to get up there again. Now, realistically, Hayden is down 2 places, but he can bring this back very easily. Remember, we do have a DRS zone here, which we will get to see on lap 3. And realistically, we're not going to see any sort of major overtaking opportunities until later on. Burrito Bandito is having a huge amount of issues. He's had a spin. I think he's also got wing damage. So nightmares for him. Landos Milman and Kulmanik, they are keeping it nice and tight up at the front with Tortor, who gained so well at the beginning. It's have a quick look. 2 places gained for him. The biggest winners. Oh, never mind. He's had a mistake. Oh, there's contact as well. Beaker's in there. He's just parked in the middle of the circuit. This is less than ideal. Marquez has lost his left end plate. I think Beaker managed to escape any damage. Yes, he did. So has Hazard. More importantly, has Hayden Gullis and Joey Eterno kept themselves clean as well. Yes for Hayden and yes for Joe. All right, everything's looking good.
Yeah, but someone who did get damage from that was Marquez. Beaker's already caught right up to the back of him, and Marquez has lost his left end plate. So that means the right-hand turns are going to be very difficult now. When you look at that, there's a right-hand turn coming up, and who was that? Was that someone I lapped down?
Yeah, I saw.
Is that Peloto? No, it isn't. It's... Was that Kormanik? That was Kormanik.
It was actually... Yeah, he fell down, and he's got massive wing damage as well. So he was looking good in P2. And then all of a sudden, it just went wrong for him. Now, I know that the telemetry on the left is starting to mess up a little bit, and it's not quite how you see it, as Beaker's just got to remove that on Marquez down the inside. That is, I believe, for P2 now. So Marquez is... Oh, he's getting swamped, absolutely swamped here. You got Hayden, you've got Hazard all over the back of them, and this is going to be an opportunity for anybody to just slip on by. Lando Smiltman, by the way, is miles down the road.
Yeah, according to the telemetry, which obviously, as you said, is glitching a bit, so it's not overly reliable, but about a 3-second gap. I think it's actually a bit more than 3 seconds to Beaker. If he can just keep this lead, it'll be a pretty easy win for the first race, but I think it's pretty safe to say Beaker will have a good chance of the fastest lap now that he's clear of traffic. Now he can just go hunting after that lead car as yeah.
Hayden went for a move on Hazard there. It didn't quite work out for him. He went for the switchback. That's a mistake.
Oh, no.
No, Hayden Gullis. That is not the way. I mean, he's kept his wing intact, but he has lost out so much. So now he's relying on his team. And I've just seen some front wing go flying off of the car, I believe, ahead. Hazard looks like he's missing a left end plate. No, he's not. He's kept it in touch. Who's that then? Oh, it's Marquez. Marquez is missing his right end plate now as well.
Oh, this is going bad to worse for him, isn't it? In terms of that, he's coming in.
Yeah. Yeah, well, he's almost... Oh,
he can't even keep in the pit lane.
Yeah. And he's got a penalty as well for that. That is a big sad time for him. But this is fantastic news if your name is Hazard or Joey Eterno, because they are looking good now. A podium position available for Hazard. He's currently trying to lock that one in, but Eterno will definitely not let him get away with that. We are now officially on lap 3. The DRS is now available, and the driving times on the left-hand side are, in fact, correct. So, we'll keep that eye very firmly locked on, as Jesper is looking to get Hardy. The DRS is available to Jesper, but not Hardy. Now it's going to be purely down to how can Hardy defend this. He's already gone really defensive, which is good. Now he's braking quite late too, which is also good, but he's really compromised his line a bit there. This has allowed Jesper to get closed in, but this is kind of slowing them both down. They're both losing places here from this defensive driving, but ultimately Hardy needs to hold this down and get as many points as he can here. I believe it is 6 points for P7. Is that right? 1, 2, 4, 6.
Yes.
Nice. Oh, a bit of a late break there from Jesper. Very nearly goes into the back of Hardy. I don't think he was expecting to gain as quick as he did. But look at how quick Lando Smiltman is. He is gone. He's pieced out. He's living in another country right now.
Is it me, or is he actually building the gap to Beaker at the moment?
It looks like it, yeah. He was almost at 4 seconds for a second there.
He's got the fastest lap by a second, so he is loving this track and loving these cars at the moment.
Oh no, Ayrton's just locked up the back end there. That's actually forced Aviator offline. He's going to have to cut the corner a little bit, and he has in fact gained that position. He might get an illegal overtake. I think he has to give it back. It looked like he did, but then he's quickly shoved himself back down the inside, and then big contact. Aviator gets rotated. Ayrton managed to escape, I think, without any damage of any sort, but he's still lost a position to Marken, so now he actually has to get through him as well.
Yeah, no fun time as Jeb has spun around now after that, and look at Hayden. He's now knocking on the door top heavy. He can get 8th. He can still have a chance at a good sprint race.
Yeah, and he kind of needs one, to be honest. Jeb does still have his front wing, even with that spin. Toto is trying to retaliate from his earlier mishap. On the back of Jeb now, almost down the inside of turn 1. Jeb gives him the space. Very well respected there from Jeb. I think maybe he surrendered a bit too much space. Did kind of hop, skip, and jump out of the way. However, no contact is good. Speaking of contact, there was almost contact between Jesper and Hardy again. This time it should be a done dealio. I don't see Hardy protecting himself from this one. As here he comes looking for a maneuver on Hardy. It's going to be an outside line all the way around. Hardy goes defensive quite nicely,
he's
but
gone
he's a
too
bit
deep.
too deep. He's gone really far off track there. That has compromised him quite substantially. He's also got Piloto Paya chasing him through, and he will not gain that position. Hardy does, in fact, have a missing right end plate.
Yeah, there goes Piloto, but this is very good news for Hayden. He hasn't got any damage. He's got Hardy ahead with damage. It's about only halfway through the race. He can almost definitely get into the top 8 now, but now he has to worry about Tortor behind, because he seems to be quite liking the cars at the moment. Look, he's already catching up to the back of Hardy.
We have rain.
Do we?
We actually have rain. Rain is falling. Rain is disastrous. Yeah, look at the halo. I mean, it's not throwing it down, but it is in fact
yes,
spitting.
I see it now. Yes.
It's spitting where I come from. Piloto Paya. So all the drivers now are going to start to feel all of this grip just suddenly start slipping away, and everyone's back ends are going to get more lively. People are struggling on the braking, which is something you do only experience really in these F2 cars. So obviously assists are available, so they do have the option to use ABS if they should want to. But you know, these guys have got a lot of pride on the line. They don't want to lose that. I wonder if we're going to see anyone coming into the pit soon to get themselves onto intermediate tire or wet tires. I think they've only got wets in the F2 cars, but Piloto Paya closing in on Jesper. DRS wing wide open. Staying out of the tow because he can't get the move done by turn 1.
Hardy's in.
Is he going to go onto...
I think that's more for damage than for wets.
Oh, they looked blue to me. Those tires look blue to me. Maybe my BDI... They're blue.
No, they're blue.
They're blue. They are wets. This could be a massive call for Hardy if the rain does fall. It's a make or break. It's a last-ditch attempt, but I don't think the track is ready right now for it. Whether it will be at any point here, I'm not sure. It's definitely dry tyres though for now.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to hit the crossover point about lap 6 or 7. Is I think where people might start considering it. As Piloto has got past Jesper, very close there, but don't think there's too much contact. Has Jesper got damage on the front left? Yes, he has. He's lost both end plates.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesper's in danger, and Luke's is behind him.
Big danger, but also Hayden in P8 now, so he's got that one locked in because of Hardy going into the pits. Has allowed this to unfold a bit. So Hayden is looking at reverse pole for the next race. However, he's going to want more than that. He's got 1.1 seconds to go before he closes in onto Jesper. Eterno's still fighting with Marken as well. Beaker has brought that gap down to race leader quite substantially. It's now only 2 seconds and he can actually see him right now, which is really good.
I wonder if it's the changeable conditions making it harder for the leader.
Oh, Aviator and Kulmanik, they had a really good side-by-side moment there through a corner that is really difficult to go side-by-side, but Kulmanik having serious wing damage is trying to muscle this one through. It's not looking too cozy for him. He's definitely going to lose out, and that's going to be it done and dusted, I think.
Still no one coming in yet. I think Harley's still the only one who's pitted in for wets. Hayden gets a good exit.
Oh! Has he got wing damage? How has Hayden survived without wing damage?
No, he has got damage. He's lost the right end plate.
He has, yeah. That is heartbreaking.
Oh, no.
He just spanned the rears a bit too much. That did really cripple Hayden. But, I mean, he should gain on Jesper, so P7 is still very easily achievable.
Yeah, but Jeb's right behind, and he hasn't got any damage, so...
Toto spun.
He has. Aviator has as well. So Kulmanik gets past both of them with his damage. So actually, Hayden might still be safe here.
Yeah, I mean, he has got 2 cars behind him. Jeb has a penalty. Jesper does not. Jeb's actually going for a move here. Has he done it? He's actually on the inside, but Jesper's going to be so out of shape here with that wing missing. It's just going to make it so much easier. And again, the back end is twitchy.
Oh! He's gone for it. Is he going to make it? Oh, no, he spun the rears.
Oh, he's caught it. I think he
Yep,
avoided
kept
the
it
wall
out of the
as well.
wall. Yeah, he caught it. I was on board. He avoided the wall. His torso now all over the back of Kulmanik. He's going to be really catching him with that improved downforce.
Well, look at Eterno and Marken. They're actually having a really good scrap there. They were side by side through that. And again, Marken's gone deep. This is good for Joey Eterno. He's also got the DRS wing. There's contact. Oh, that's big disaster for both drivers. Massive wing damage on both cars. And now Piloto Paya has just been promoted up to P4. And I think you have to put that one, on Joe. I think that was him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was just a bit clumsy. Obviously, he wasn't meaning to, but I think you just could have given a bit more space. And that would have been avoided, I think. And now they've lost that place of Piloto. and I think at least one, if not both of them, have damage.
Yeah, they definitely do have damage. This is great news for Hayden. 3 laps to go. Track is getting slippy. The drops on the halo are actually starting to settle as well now, which is a good indicator that we are nearing the weather. There we go. DRS is disabled. You need to be getting in the pits. Lando's missed it. Piloto could win this race. The top 3 have all missed the pits.
Eterno stayed out.
Hayden needs to pit. Hayden needs to pit. Hayden needs to pit.
He stayed out.
No, go into the pits. This is a mistake.
Everyone's staying out. Everyone's staying out, despite DRS being disabled. Oh, Jesper's got to come in. Yeah, he is. If Jesper didn't come in, that'd be race suicide.
Yeah, well, yeah. So, Piloto Paya may actually go ahead and win this race now. This could be very easy for him to achieve. It's all about... Oh, Markin! Oh, my word. He was so close to going into the wall there. Raymond Duck has DNF. That's on track as well.
Yeah. That is out of the hairpin.
That is voluntary.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, he didn't even crash. His car's moving.
Oh.
I think he span it, but that is... he's had enough. There's Tortor, who's had a couple of spins. Cole Manic's gone a bit deep into the corner. That's because he's got no grip. That's because the track is now at a wet condition track. If the DRS is disabled, that means you should not be on the dry compound tyres at all. And that's why you're seeing Piloto Paya. In fact, I actually want to watch him because he's going to be looking so much better than everybody ahead of him. There's Kolmanik and Tortor. Piloto Paya having so much more grip. We'll just cruise on by. And he's got front wing that he can actually rely on. Tortor also in a similar boat. This is just a pure demonstration of how much grippier the wet tyres are now in these conditions versus the softs. They cannot displace the water anywhere near enough. And look at this. Piloto Paya says easy peasy lemon squeezy. He's now got reverse pull.
Yeah, but obviously he's not going to want to stick for that. I assume everyone's surely got to come in, especially those around Piloto, seeing how much quicker he is on those tyres. Landos is coming up to pit lane. He was 13 seconds down in the middle sector. So that's surely got to be a sign to him that these are not the right tyres to be on. And if they lose that much pace, I think, would Piloto naturally catch it? They're staying out.
Yeah, they are.
Oh, Beaker's in, Beaker's in.
There is enough time for them to box, change tyres, and go out again. Ayrton is 22 seconds back from a podium position. But this is a big mistake. Yeah, like you said, Beaker and Hazard are in the pits getting their tyres changed. It is definitely wet weather tyres now. Look at the rainfall. Beaker on his way out. Lando's Milkman has only just got to, what turn is that? Turn 5, I think? The DRS straight. He's made a big mistake here. This race was his. He had this locked in. And now, the decision... And all these other people who've decided to stay out, they're all just surrendering their positions unnecessarily. Hayden, yes, you're up to P5 right now, and Ayrton, you're up to P3 right now, but you won't be in a minute because Hazard, Piloto Paya, they're coming in hot with these wet weather tyres. They're just going to be so much better.
And they're only going to get better as the race goes on. I think people like Lando are counting on how little time is left. Yeah. It's, what, a lap and a half. So I think they're banking on, oh, surely they can't catch him out of time. But if he was 13 seconds off in the middle sector last lap, he was 6 seconds off in the first sector by the looks of it. He's going to be caught very quickly by Beaker. I think Beaker's already caught over a second in the last half a minute or so. And he spun the rears as well. He's full. Oh, yeah. He's avoided damage. Yeah. And Beaker's only going to close more and more and more.
Yeah. And I don't think the spin would have even mattered, to be honest. I think the lack of pace you have when it comes... I mean, this is a track where you've got a lot of corners. It's not like you can just... It's not like Monza, for example, where majority of it is just straights. Couple of braking zones, couple of corners, and then off you go again. This is a track where it has a lot of corners you need to be consistent at. And yeah, this is starting to go wrong for a fair few of them. Look at how there's like a car park down here coming towards the bridge. The hairpin here. Everyone is so slow. Piloto Paya is just trying to find a little crack in the armor, and there it is. He's through. Got 2 places gained because they are so much better than the dry tires in this situation. Yeah, Beaker P1, I reckon here. Hazard P2. Piloto P3 now.
Yeah, and Landers, so he's definitely... Well, he has to say it, doesn't he? If he pits now, he's going to be way down the grid.
Oh yeah, 100%. He has to... I mean, Landos might actually hold on to like a P4 potentially. I mean, the next wet weather car is Jesper all the way down there in P10, and he's still miles away from all of this. So, well, Kulmanic's in the wall. More wing damage for him then.
Yep. Staying on those soft tires definitely didn't help his affairs. Had he gone onto the wets and repaired that wing, who knows, maybe he could have tried to climb back up to P8. Torso in the moment, P8 on softs, he's just got a penalty. And behind he has Jesper on wet with a repaired wing and no penalty. So Torso might have thrown away a reverse grid swap.
Yep. Oh, I mean, Jesper is struggling, but look at Beaker's time eating contest. He is absolutely smashing this apart, down to 9.5 seconds. It's now obviously the final lap, so this is coming down to how good can Beaker be here at closing in on the pace in the wets, but how good can Landos be at maintaining any sort of pace on these dry compound tires? This, for me, is a bit too close to call for. Although Beaker does have to not only just close up, he also has to pass. I think passing will be pretty easy once he can catch up, but the time is just being absolutely melted away. He's already getting 4 seconds in a sector and a half.
Yeah.
He's coming. He's actually just gone through the hairpin. Look at this. It's already down to 4.5 seconds. Beaker can see the race win in front of him. This is going to be a very close ending here, I think. Beaker really needs to get the foot down and get gone, as Hayden's moved up to P5 now. 2.7 seconds, 2.4. The interval is dropping. So are Lando's Milkman's tyres, and the pace just seems to go with it. Kulmanic has retired from this race. He looks like he has had enough. And Beaker, there it is. Look at this, the 1.1. I think even without the spin, Lando's Milkman would have lost this regardless. But yeah, now this is just going to be a... Where's the gap? Where's the gap? Oh, around the outside? Yeah, okay, we'll go for it. And easy peasy. Beaker moves up to race lead. And on the final few corners, as long as he doesn't get a penalty, this one is his.
I don't think he's getting penalty. I think he's going to take this very slowly. Like, yeah, this is my win. I've got this. And
Easy
there he
slaps.
goes across the line. And Beaker has won with the correct strategy.
Yeah, I think maybe I was a bit too quick to judge Lando's pace on the dries. He did a very good job to still secure a P2 there. You know, if there'd have been a couple more laps, then they would have lost out, but there wasn't. 9 laps was all it was. Yeah, these guys that have tried it have really struggled. But Piloto Paya gets P4. Hayden Gullis is currently fighting for his life here because Jesper on these wet tires has gone around the outside. He's made that one stick. He's got the grip he needs, and Hayden has fallen down to P6. Joey Eterno, his teammate, is kind of hoping that Hayden makes a mistake and that Joe can get that position, but they are still looking good when it comes to the points for this race and then moving over into the next. As there we go across the line, Hayden P6, Joey Eterno P7, Aviator will just snatch the reverse pole position here in P8 right away from his teammate as they come up to the final corner. Oh my word, he timed that perfectly across the line and he will get P8 locked in.
Now this is going to be a car park on the straight as everyone spins out of the last corner.
Yeah.
Can't imagine the marshals will be too happy cleaning that up.
No, definitely not. I mean, that is going to be really heartbreaking for Markin there. He was looking at a reverse pole. Now he's going to have to start the race in 9th, so sad times. I do think, though, had Hayden actually pitted when he was supposed to and gone onto the wets, I think he would have been up there on the podium. Oh, goodness me. Jeb and Marquez having a bit of a contact there. Marquez just... What was it? No, Hardy, sorry. Hardy and Jeb. Hardy just kind of sent it down the inside. Did kind of bump Jeb off the track and then snatched P11 away. It's all for non-point positions, but the penalty alone for Jeb would have made him lose that position regardless.
Yeah. Marquez will be the last one to cross the line. Burrito, a lap down, has already crossed it. And how about that for a race, huh?
I've also been told apparently some people ran out of fuel. In fact, look at Marquez. He's run out of fuel. He's going flat out. Oh, and now he's never going to finish the race. After all that, he didn't finish the race. Heartbreaking. But that was a pretty mental race. I was not expecting the rain to fall, and it did end up falling. It really blew that grid wide open. Beaker making that last second strategy call, which paid off for him. He managed to lock himself that race win. It does kind of shut down Landos Milkman's chances of getting a perfect weekend, but I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that. When we get races like that, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. they have a really, really good race, and hopefully more to come in the sprint race. I don't think we'll get that kind of weather pattern again, but we didn't think we'd get it in the first place.
No.
I'm very glad we didn't get spoiled on the weather situation.
Well, the rundown at the end of this looks like the follows. Beaker getting the race win along with the fastest lap means he moves up to 27 points. Linus Milman P2, Hazard P3, Piloto P4 with Jesper P5. Hayden Gullis getting P6 with Ayrton in 7th and Aviator in 8th place. Now remember, the top 8 get reversed for the start of the sprint race, which we've got coming up in just a second. So Aviator will start on pole with Ayrton hunting him down right next to him on the front row. Marken gets P9, Toto gets the final point, with Hardy getting best of the rest. Jeb in P12, Marquez P13, Fulmanik 14th, Brito Bandito 15th, Ravenduk 16th, and the others in 17th and 18th place. Now we are, well, it started off dry in the last race, but it looks pretty clear cut here that it is going to be a nice dry race, and it's also the sprint race. We have less laps. I believe we're looking at 6 laps. For this race, we shall see. But I look forward to driving these circuits every time we get the opportunity. Singapore is such a challenging track. It requires a lot of technical skill. It requires a very mechanical grip focused car, but there's also a fair few corners that require aerodynamical grip. So yeah, you really got to get the best balance overall, which in these F2 cars is really key. You really need to get that down in general. Anyway, add in Singapore, it just makes it that bit harder. So here we go then. Aviator leading us away on our formation lap. And I want to hear from you, Safsa. What's your 1, 2, 3 for this one?
I'm going to go with Aviator P1. I think he's going to hold down the fort. Say Hayden P2. I think he's going to be motivated by the fact that he was able to recover that future race. I think he's going to use that to get P2. And Piloto's pace looked pretty decent, so I'm going to say him for P3.
See, I actually think that we're going to see Ayrtono and Hayden getting the 1-2 locked in. I know they're talking about it right now for sure. Aviator has had a history of mistakes, whether it be physical crashes against the wall or whether it be penalties that have been applied. I mean, the pace for both Ayrtono and Hayden in this track in particular has been pretty good, so I think they can do it. Who do I favour out of the two to get the P1? I'm actually going to give it to Hayden. I think overall Hayden is a better driver out of the two of them. I think he's faster. I think he is more consistent. And Joe making that mistake in that last race, yes, granted it was on another car, but it could actually spell disaster for both of them if that is recreated.
Yeah. And I think also Hayden also has a little bit more of a drive than Ayrtono, because he says so many times publicly, hasn't he, how excited he is for each F2 race every week. So I think...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I think he's going to really bring that energy. And I think if they get into a wheel-to-wheel battle, which I'm not sure will happen, to be honest, I think they might stay away from each other. I mean, it'd be nice to see them battle, see if we have a sort of Hamilton and Rosberg situation, but I think I'd have to agree with you. If it was between the two, Hayden probably on top.
Yep, without a doubt. Okay, well then. Just one more sector to go. We've lost 3 drivers from the formation lap, but don't worry, they can in fact race. They've just been DQ'd and will have their tyres put to a very cold temperature due to sitting on the grid. Now, they don't get to choose what tyre compound they start the race on, but Marquez, Burrito Bandito, and Ravenduk have all got the super soft tyre, which might sound great, okay? It might sound fantastic. However, it isn't. On a track like this, it really isn't. They will get ridiculously hot tires on this circuit. This is an absolute tire shredder. In the F1 cars, you'll see if anybody does try to get onto the soft tires that it does melt them away quite hard. When they get to the mediums, obviously they have a much higher temperature threshold, so they can actually handle and operate at higher temperatures quite well. The hards, obviously, that a little bit further, but you know, you also lose out on that actual raw grip that you can get. So it is a bit of a trade-off. You need to ask yourself, what is the best scenario? And in these F2 races, there is no stops. The only time you stop is if you have a crash. But that doesn't mean that the tyres won't just drip away and cause them to have an absolute nightmare here in the F2 races. So, we've had our predictions in. We're just waiting now for the final driver to get into the grid box, which is what has been done. And then we need those beautiful 5 lights at the top to just get us started. There they are. Here we go then. Aviator leading us away. Aeterno, he needs to get a great start coming up towards turn 1. And away we go. It looks like Aeterno got a fantastic start. I think he might actually be able to take the race lead here as he's come into it. No, Aviator's got the better one too, and he's holding the line, and that means it's going to be really tight here as Hayden Gullis loses out to Jesper. Having a little bit of squabble there throughout, and then actually Hazard is going for a move down the inside as well. Hayden's getting squeezed to the edge of the circuit, but he's just about kept himself in it. But he's lost 2 places from the word go.
And it's actually a very similar start to how he had in the feature race. He dropped a couple places there as well, but he's all over the back of Hazard. Interestingly, not choosing to just try and stay in his slipstream, he was just doing his own kind of straight. And it seems he may also have slightly higher wings, because he wasn't really catching there. So maybe he's gone for more downfalls, trying to gain more time in the corners. Meanwhile, Beaker all over the back of Piloto. I imagine those two are going to have quite a fierce battle this race.
Oh, we've had a spin. That was Jeb. Jeb made a bit of a mistake there, and he has fallen down to 17th place. Also, our race winner Beaker is up to P7. Lando's movement did fall a little bit there. He's down to P8. Who was that? I just saw somebody. Is that Marquez? No, he's all good. Everything's fine for them. Super soft tires really not starting to demonstrate how good they can be in comparison to the softs, but a bit of a mistake there. That might allow Markin to get through. Bit of contact with the... Oh no, it was just lag. I thought there was contact, but Marquez just teleported a little bit. Jesper right on the back of Aeterno, who's just losing out to that 1 second margin to Aviator.
Yeah, look at Markin, he's all over the back of Tortor, looking for any crack in the armor. See if he can sneak through anywhere. Nowhere at the moment. Once DRS gets enabled, that might be a very different story. Let's look at Lando's Milkman. He's hounding the back of Beaker's car, which is interesting. I thought Beaker would have been able to stick to the back of Piloto. Maybe he's just staying back, trying to keep his tires cool. But actually, Aviator's trying to pull a bit of a gap now. Yeah,
he is. I mean, luckily, Aeterno's doing a good job to just hang in there on that 1 second margin. He's got, the fastest lap drive, obviously, of Aviator ahead of him, due to the fact that he started so far up. It says lap 3, but I assure you we are only on lap 2, so ignore the telemetry, ignore the sign. We do not yet have DRS on the board. Ravenduck is not 6th, I can assure you. It is still the man himself, Aviator, leading of this Grand Prix. Now, Aeterno holding a nice little gap to him.
Yeah, but look at Hayden, he's really trying to get to the back of Hazard. Nothing so far. But again, it's going to be next lap, isn't it, where we really start to see these battles come to fruition. Is that Jesper ahead of Hazard? It is.
It looks like it, yeah. How did he manage that? Because he has just shot past people then here. That's fantastic stuff from him. Really well done. That does bring him up to physical P3. A podium for Jesper would be mental.
That'd be one hell of a way to make an impression, wouldn't it? It's actually Aviator has lost a bit of that time that I mentioned earlier to Aeterno. He's right behind him on the hairpin now, but look at Jesper, he's even closer to Aeterno. So don't count anyone out of the battle for the win, because anything can happen, especially with how tight Singapore is.
Yeah, the gap was just a bit too big there for Jesper to go and make a move on Aeterno. But next lap, they will have DRS, so that will be an opportunity there for him to properly charge and attack and maybe get a maneuver locked in. Might be able to do it coming out of turn, I think it's turn 5, onto that first DRS zone. There are obviously 3 DRS zones on this circuit. Yellow flag sector 3, that is Cool Manic, who's had an issue. He's dropping places, it looks like. And Aeterno getting a penalty. A disaster for him in this race.
That's going to be huge for whoever gets P2, because now anyone within that range will get past, meaning Hayden might still be able to beat his own rival.
Yeah, you know that they've got a lot of rivalry between them, as Landers also just made a move there on Beaker. Beaker's still stuck to the back of him there, almost went for a move. We are now on lap 3, so we will have DRS available. And Aviator is going to need to watch his mirrors now, because here comes Joe Aeterno, who has a very fast orange car chasing him down as well.
Yeah, here we go then. Aeterno, he's got the DRS, Aviator does not. Aeterno's got the slipstream, Aviator does not. Aviator goes on the defensive, and he stays ahead for now. But that's brought Aeterno ever closer to him, and he just needs to keep that gap, and he'll have a very good chance on the next DRS zone, which is coming up soon. They've got another string without one coming up as Marquez gets past Tortor. Doesn't seem like there was any contact there. Nice lovely move. And Lando's going to have to look out for Beaker. He hasn't got DRS on Piloto. Beaker will have DRS on him when that comes up.
Now, the top 6 are all really close together. We've got a fantastic little train going on here. You know, Piloto Paya, who's shown us time and time again. Actually, Jesper's gone down the inside. Hazard go around the outside, I think. Oh, it's Aoturno who's trying to go for a move on. That was my apologies. Aoturno has lost time now. He's crucially lost the DRS gap to Aviator, but Jesper just seems to be that much faster. And Hazard now had a little look there on him, and Jesper's making a back-end mistake. This is allowing Hayden to close in a little bit too from all this scrapping. They are so close to each other. But the worry now is Aoturno. He hasn't got the gap down. He's just crept back in again. He really needs to find the pace. Bit of a mistake there from Hayden, but he's caught it. This back end is really difficult to control.
Yeah, the back end, it just wants to slip out, doesn't it? It doesn't want to stay where it's supposed to be. Ooh. It just wants to do what it wants to do. It says a yellow flag. Is that Hardy moving down?
Yeah,
yes, it is. He's hit the wall. I
also saw a Hazard, who is Hardy's teammate. He looked like he just clipped the wall as well. He hasn't got any wing damage, but that won't help. Kormanik also having a bit of an issue there. He's had a fair few issues in this race so far, and he's clipping the wall again. This is not going well for him. Joe Eterno did get himself back into the DRS range, but it's not quite close enough to attack. However, Jesper is 3/10 is the gap. He needs a nice cozy exit here, which is exactly what he got. He won't be able to attack right now, it looks like, because Eterno's going to have the DRS and the tow. Yeah, he's just going to have to sit tight for now. But the penalty will make the difference.
As Markinus had a crash, I believe, out of turn 5. May have just been going side by side with someone a little bit too wide. As that's someone round. Is it Hardy's one round? It's gone from bad to worse for him.
Well, there's a few cars have been collected.
Yeah.
That's Kormanik who's crashed. Hardy was caught in it, and I think Ravenduck managed to avoid all of the carnage and contact. But look at the battle for P1. Aviator is very much under attack here from Joey Eterno, who has to get past. He's going for a send in towards the hairpin, and that's pushed Aviator out wide. We saw this before, where Eterno was trying to get a really good run. Now he's got the tow. Now he's got DRS. There's surely no way Aviator can defend this. He's going to try in the braking zone anyway. Going around the outside. Eterno might be able to lock this one in, but he's in the barrier. There's contact. He's falling down the order. And that is lights out for Eterno. He will fall right the way down to P7. And he might even lose that again to Bika, who's got a bit tight, bit deep there. Kept himself in and has secured P7. F's in chat for Joey Eterno.
That was rough to watch. That was, yeah. And at this exact same time, Hazard was trying to go around the outside of Jesper, possibly saw Eterno go, okay, maybe I don't go for this move. So he's fallen down a bit, but look at Jesper now. He has it. We were talking about him potentially get a podium. He could get a win here.
Yeah, very easy, achievable. As we've had another mistake. That's Brito Bandito down there in P12. Eterno with another penalty. His life is getting considerably harder. Now, Hayden Gullis is able to attack Hazard because Hazard has fallen outside the DRS range of the car ahead. Jesper, though, he is looking for this P1. He is right on the gearbox of Aviator. We saw what happened last time. Somebody went around the outside of Aviator. They ended up in the wall. This time, there's contact between them, but they've come into the braking zone quite nicely. Aviator's turned across. There's just no room for him there, and that's caused a bit of contact. This has rescued Hazard a little bit. He brought himself back into that 1 second margin. Lando's Milman looking on the inside as well. Piloto Paya. Everyone's starting to get super scrappy coming into the final lap and a half.
Yeah, they know time's running out, and they know there's no more races after this, so this is their final chance to try and pick up some extra points. Aviator locks up into the Thai left-hand, which used to be the Singapore sling. Now it's more of just a... I was going to try and think of a clever name for that, but just a normal Singapore corner now.
Singapore fling, huh?
Ah, yes, that works. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yellow flag sector 2, that is Brito Bandito once more, off and into the wall. Jesper is very much coming for Aviator's backside as much as he possibly can. Just can't seem to get through. There's just no.
I think he's gonna have to. I think he's gonna have to wait for that second DRS in, isn't he?
Yeah.
To have a chance.
I mean, he might go for on the home straight, but is there any need? Is there any point? You're only going to lose that again when you get to the next DRS zone. But the thing you've got to worry about is, if you don't time it right or don't handle it right, you might be under attack from Hazard behind. If you only get one slight mistake coming through one of the corners, it's going to be very easy for him to just suddenly go, oh, okay, well, I'll just go for a move down then, shall I? As, oh, that was a very deep defensive maneuver from there from Aviator. I thought I saw a car go really far off towards the in the pit wall, and yeah, it was both of these two. He was trying his best to get past him, but Aviator should have let him by there, to be honest. Because I think realistically, he's actually going to be better off on this one. There's surely no way now. We are on the final lap. There's no way Aviator can defend this, but a mistake from Jesper might have just protected him. He could potentially lock this one back in. Hayden Gullis is also closing on Hazard, but he hasn't got the toe. Jesper's going to have to wait a little bit longer. And this is just less than ideal for these guys.
Yeah, I think he's got to be praying for that deal. Oh, he's locked the rears. He's just... almost looks like he's buckling under the pressure. It's last lap, battle for the win. And he's just not doing what he needs to do to take that place. Marquez gets past Tortor. So at the moment, he's not heading for points. Marquez going around the outside. He's on the super soft, so keep that in mind.
Oh!
He's out.
Big crash. Heartbreaking crash. But we need to go back to our race leaders because now Jesper just... oh, he's had a bit of contact with Aviator. That might just destabilize him enough. And a big burnout there from Aviator. The DRS being available to him might mean he should be able to lock this one in. But the braking zone starts now. Round the outside, we saw this happen with Joey Eterno. It looks like Aviator's gone deep. Can Jesper get the accelerator? He cannot. The back end just gets a bit too lively. Suddenly, Hazard is also looking for Jesper as well. Coming into the chicane now. Who's going to benefit the most? Jesper's trying to get the inside line. He cannot lock that one in. Aviator's just covering himself off enough. The defensive drive from this man is insane, and no one can get him.
Yeah, and Hayden's tapped the back of Hazard a few times as well, so he's been brought back into this battle. But it does look like Aviator's going to keep it as long as he doesn't make a mistake. Jesper's all over the back of him. This is the last lap, it's the last corner. There's no Glock in Hamilton here. As Aviator wins the race, Jesper second, Hazard third.
That was such a crazy fight there. He could have gone... I was expecting when he went around the outside again on Aviator, I was expecting to see the same as we saw with Turner, who's just had a nightmare of a race since that point. Fell all the way down to P12, and, you know, it is what it is, but good effort. Good effort from him.
Yeah, I don't think he'd be unhappy with P2 at all. And it's a very, very solid result for him, and it should put him a fair bit up the standings. So, nothing to be glum about with that performance.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. Alrighty then, we'll be swiftly moving over from this in a second into the F1 race. Now we have the highlight video. It is a relatively lengthy one, so as soon as this is over, we'll get straight into that video for you. Just need to wait for, I believe, Burrito Bandita to finish. Got a fair few corners to go before that happens though. Going through Sector 3.
So in the first race we had changeable conditions, in the second race we had a about 5-car battle for the lead.
Yeah, and it could have honestly gone to any one of them. If anybody had got a penalty there, they would have dropped straight away. There was obviously Ayrton was the first to get a penalty out of those guys at the front, you know, and he had to go for the move. He didn't really have a choice. It was the only way he was going to be able to actually go for a send. Oh my word, that was a crash and a half. These are AI, of course. They don't have control over that. The Revenue Game Driver of the Day. Let's go.
We don't see that very often, do we?
No, we do not. Alright, we'll get the quick rundown for you guys, and then we'll move straight over into the hype video for the F1 race. And it looks like this. Beaker takes the overall win with 29 points, just 1 point ahead of Lando's Milk, and that's how close that championship came down to. But Hazard gets P3, Jesper P4, Aviator P5, Pelotopaya P6, Hayden P7, Ayrton P8, Markin P9, Tortor tied with Marquez for the final point there in P10. Jeb P12, Raymond P13, Harley P14, Tiger Jr. 15th, Burrito Bandita 16th, and Kulmanik in 17th place. Well, that's it for the F2s, but do not go anywhere. We're about to get straight into the F1 races. Here we go.